Good night to one and all. Welcome to the Collister Fahie show. Today is Saturday, March 8th, 2025. This is episode number 50. Can't believe I'm saying that, but this is episode number 50. And on the topic tonight, on the hot seat, the topic is love demands sacrifice. So to all my listeners in the USVI, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world, welcome, and let us get to it, because for the first hour, I'll be talking to you around the horn about what is going on politically and socially. And then at around the hour mark, we will have a special guest tonight. Miss Ida Smith will be joining us tonight, and she will be giving us an update on all things Ida Smith, as well as what is being done behind the scenes on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands. Because that is the great sacrifice that many don't know of and will certainly become aware of as the time goes by. So first, love demands sacrifice. I will start with the US tonight, and then I will come to the US Virgin Islands, and then we will get into it with Miss Ida Smith, of course, and the flow will be hers as we discuss various topics. Well, again today, as every day seems to be Groundhog Day, just a repetition, we are finding out more and more about the corruption that has ensnared our great land, the United States, and that includes all of us in the territories. When you hear about the billions of dollars that are being spent and shuttled to NGOs, to politicians, and all that, I could not believe when I started seeing some of the stuff on social media. As they are popping up, it appears that USAID, on its way to being shut down, of course, just like the Department of Education, it appears that USAID was also funding terrorist organizations. Billions of dollars. Our taxpayer money. Then we hear now, after Stacey Abrams was called out for receiving billions of dollars in the last minute from the EPA, she is on the mainstream propaganda media saying that she received monies to reduce the cost of energy, I guess, for a small town or a small area, and they reduced the energy cost by buying new appliances for the people in these areas. And once that was quote unquote successful, they decided that they wanted to expand it nationwide. And that is why the EPA shuttled billions of dollars to the organization that she's a part of. Mind you, this is someone who was running for elected office in Georgia. None of this was said then. This is someone who, while they call Trump an election denier, been denying the fact that she lost election after election in Georgia for years. But this is my takeaway, my listeners. You know that something is amiss. You know that something is corrupt. It is fraud and possibly outright theft of government funds, simply because, think about it logically, why would the EPA under the Biden administration engage in a program like that where you're buying new appliances for people, basically voters, why would they give them sort of billions of dollars to an organization to do it? The organization didn't take credit for it. You know something is amiss because you know politics. Biden would have used that initiative as a political crutch. He would have said to the world, look, I've given billions of dollars, bought new appliances for so many thousands of people and reduced their energy costs. All of that silent. So you know something is up. Once the politicians don't politic, then you know it's fraud and theft. And so I think that it would behoove Stacey Abrams to come off the media and talking such nonsense. Billions of dollars to buy new appliances. That means that you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of new appliances in people's homes that can be traced. These individuals just put the foot in their own mouths, because I can guarantee you I'll be reporting probably on Tuesday that the Department of Government Efficiency looked at the claims she was making and then provide the ludicrous numbers that the money is so-called went to buy new appliances. They ain't buying no new appliances for no hundreds of thousands of people. And so again, I see litigation, I see criminal charges circling for these individuals. I go on. As I told you, ActBlue, which is the dominant fundraising tool or organization for the Democrats, 7 people resigned, including one of the legal counsel. They are under attack because people are starting to realize that the Democrat machine was using taxpayer funds to boost themselves, prop up themselves, enrich themselves. And now they are looking to see if ActBlue, these funds that we now know, millions and in fact over the years probably trillions, are fraudulent, if it was used for election fraud in terms of voter registration and voting in general. It's going to be crazy the next few days because the corruption just expands and expands. Now we're finding out through social media posts and people who follow this thing like real reporters, real news organizations, that it was George Soros funded groups utilizing again taxpayers' money behind these protests of Tesla, behind these troublemakers who are protesting Republicans and protesting things that Donald Trump is spearheading, all paid through taxpayer funds and dark money. When will the corruption end? And so when I say love demands sacrifice, do you understand the sacrifices that Trump has made? The only president to go into elected office who has lost money across the board. All the other presidents went in with this amount of money and then their net worth just blossomed to hundreds of millions of dollars. That is the sacrifice that he is making because he says he loves America and America first. Elon Musk, it is reported, the world's richest man, is losing money on some of his businesses I might say, as a qualifier, not for long. But for now, he has lost some money on some of his businesses, spearheading Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, and taking a media hit like no one else around the Trump organization and administration, other than Trump. He is taking the worst hit in the media. That is his sacrifice, because he says that there's a line in the sand. America was losing its democracy and it was going bankrupt, and that could not be allowed, because America stands as the beacon of hope for much of the world. And so his sacrifice is great. Now, that is part and parcel to what I call sacrifice. So let's go through it from both sides. Many people say that Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, George Bush, Laura Bush, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, and the Biden family have all sacrificed greatly for the United States as elected officials. Maybe true, maybe not true, but I'll go through some of the things that I've looked at. When it comes to the Bushes, add to them the Cheneys, and you see the cost to America based on the Iraq War. First, this Republican administration signaled there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and that was the reason they were going in. We found out there were no weapons of mass destruction, and then the goalposts were moved, and they said that it was a humanitarian effort because Saddam was brutalizing his people. The cost to American lives was great. The amount of money, our taxpayer funds, was great. What did the Bushes sacrifice? Nothing. What did the Cheneys sacrifice? Nothing. They came out of office wealthier than they went into office, and the war machine continued along, making big millions and billions, even trillions of dollars out of the United States. We go to the Clintons, and it brings me to Haiti. The Clintons got millions to help Haiti after the earthquakes, and based on all reports coming out of Haiti, from the media and from the people that suffered in Haiti, they did not see much of those millions of dollars. At the same time, we know that Bill Clinton was impeached for the Monica Lewinsky saga. We know he lied. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. We found out that was a lie. Now, this is a Democrat administration. And at the same time, we know about the scandals that surround Bill Clinton in Arkansas and even in the White House. Now, what did Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton sacrifice? Nothing. But we know that Hillary Clinton went on, after she lost the nomination to Barack Obama, a nomination, mind you, that many people thought that she should win because she had more delegates than Barack Obama. But Obama was gifted, just like the governor of the Virgin Islands, with the gift of gab. And he took that nomination from Hillary Clinton, whether we like it or not. We applauded it, actually. At that point in time, I was 100% in for Barack Obama. Wanted him to be the first black president of the United States. And so Hillary lost. But part of the deal of Hillary losing that nomination was her joining the Obama administration as the Secretary of State. Now, we know what happened with Benghazi. Susan Rice came out and said it was based on a video. None of that is true. Absolutely lying. And the propaganda networks. And they believe that we can't hear, we don't remember. The facts are that USAID funding and American taxpayers' money was behind the very same color revolutions we talk about to overthrow or at least destabilize the government of Libya by proxy Gaddafi. At the same time, 9 months earlier, Obama shook the hand of Gaddafi, and Gaddafi agreed to dismantle his nuclear weapons program. 9 months later, Gaddafi was dead. The US lost Americans in the attack on the consul in Benghazi. What did the Clintons lose? What did they sacrifice? Hillary Clinton went before the Congress and said, what difference does it make? A man was dead. They left office with a net worth much higher than when they went into office. We continue. The Barack Obama administration. This was the administration that signaled the promotion and shift in ideology of the United States. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The rise of pride. The rise of the LGBTQ and transgenderism. Do the research. At the same time, Obama deported many illegal immigrants, as did Bush, as did Clinton. It was under Barack Obama that Snowden came out as a whistleblower and told the world that the government of the United States was surveilling its own citizens, which was against the law. It was under the Barack Obama administration that WikiLeaks released confidential emails, videos that showed it was the US government that perpetrated drone strikes that killed innocents. And for that, the Barack Obama administration labeled both Snowden and Julian Assange as enemies of the state, basically traitors, and both men ran for their lives. Snowden ran to Russia, where he still remains. Yet, it was proven, and it is a fact, that the government of the United States was surveilling its citizens unlawfully, unconstitutionally, and illegally. So then, if what he was saying is true, and he claimed whistleblower status, how is he a traitor? I digress. This is not what that is about. The same is with Julian Assange. Years in the Australian embassy, or the Ecuadorian embassy actually, in England. Basically under house arrest, couldn't go any place. Charges were filed against him. Charges that were dispelled and dismissed. Summarily dismissed. Again, the machine working against citizens. We learned after Donald Trump was elected president in 2016, we started to learn that the Barack Obama administration, outgoing administration, set up surveillance of the Trump administration before he was president and ramped it up after he won the election and became president, to the point that General Michael Flynn and his family was put through the ringer for 4 years. They had so many unlawful, illegal, criminal, in my view, operations going on that they still have not been sorted out, and now Trump is back in office and has to deal with them. Every level of the intelligence agencies were weaponized against the Trump administration from 2016, before he got elected, after he got elected, after he got inaugurated, and all the way till he lost the 2020 election to Joe Biden, they said, by over 16 to 17 million people. Mind you, those people have disappeared, it seems, because Kamala Harris got 75 million votes and Trump got more, 77 million. But the rest, to bring it up to the 81 million that they said that Biden received in 2020, more votes than any president, even Barack Obama, who won by a landslide. Every black, Hispanic, and numerous white individuals voted for Barack Obama. The entire Democrat organization and machine voted for Barack Obama. Many Republicans, black Republicans, voted for Barack Obama, and he didn't get 81 million votes. But when you have mail-in ballots, ballot drop boxes, and all of the things that happened in 2020 that everybody said was in the most secure election of all time, you would have 81 million votes that never actually are persons. I continue with the sacrifice. What did Barack Obama sacrifice? He received Nobel Peace Prizes. He received the Nobel Peace Prize. He was lauded worldwide. He went to Mandela's funeral and spoke. The world loved Barack Obama. His net worth jumped by hundreds of millions of dollars from when he started to when he ended 80 years later. What did he sacrifice? Then we come to the Joe Biden administration. Because Trump, term 1, and Trump, this second month of his second term, I will put into one category. We go to the Biden administration. What did he sacrifice? Before Trump was inaugurated, he's caught on tape threatening the then president of Ukraine to not work with the Trump administration. He's caught on tape saying to the Ukrainians, you either get rid of the prosecutor or you won't get any of the foreign aid. And we need it done quickly. And like he said, hey, what the heck? They got rid of the prosecutor. USAID money is what pushed the color revolution, that pushed the president then, Poroshenko, out and replaced him with Zelensky. Remember, it was Zelensky and the phone call that Trump made to him that formed the basis of an unfounded impeachment. This is my opinion. Many will disagree. But that is not what this is about. It's about sacrifice. Love demands sacrifice. So Biden is elected. It is the Biden administration that goes after the January 6th defendants. Whether you agree that they were insurrectionists or not, that is not what this is about. We're talking about the sacrifice, or the sacrifices of these presidents and politicians. So what did Biden sacrifice? They went after the insurrectionists, they say. The J6 committee went after Donald Trump and anyone associated with the quote-unquote insurrection, J6. It is the Biden administration that went after conservatives, censorship, and just outright litigation, lawfare. It is the Biden administration that covered up, along with the intelligence agencies, what was the truthful Hunter Biden laptop stating that it was Russian disinformation. Now we know that the laptop is real. Now we know that Hunter Biden was caught up with Burisma in Ukraine, with China. He is a recovering or still a crack addict. We find out he has engaged in some lewd things with family members. We also find out that Joe Biden's brother is involved in all of this. Then we also find out that Joe Biden now appeared to have had cognitive disabilities even before he became president. Today we are finding out that almost all of the executive orders and pardons signed by Joe Biden was done by autopen, or as we say in the Virgin Islands, auto-sign. That is a major scandal. If all of those executive orders are auto-signed, he didn't pen those signatures himself. Are we sure if Joe Biden even know what was signed? Because many times we realize that he didn't seem to be aware of what was going on. People have the conjecture that it may be dementia, Alzheimer's. All I say, if he was impaired, whatever it was, those bureaucrats who surrounded Joe Biden had a duty to tell the people of the United States, and corrections was supposed to be made. But that is not the Democrat machine. That is not the bureaucracy that we know in the United States. That same bureaucracy that we are now seeing exposed. So what did the Bidens sacrifice? I am going to tell you, I believe that Joe Biden sacrificed his family. He sacrificed his name. Because history, in my view, will not be kind to Joe Biden and the Bidens. History has been very kind to the Kennedys. Because now we find out a lot of what happened with the assassination of RFK, John F. Kennedy, and Robert F. Kennedy. But most of John F. Kennedy. And it appears that the CIA, the government of the United States, terminated their own president. But that is not what this is about. That is just an aside. So the Kennedys sacrificed much. They bled blood for the United States because of a bureaucracy that did not want to move into the future of a Make America Great Again. When Kennedy was president, he had to go. So the Bidens have sacrificed, I think, their family name, and I think he has sacrificed any legacy that he will ever have in the United States. History is not going to be kind. So now I come to Trump. But before I go to Trump, remember, the Bidens made millions more than what they came into politics with. Hundreds of millions more. And apparently, the Department of Government Efficiency under this new Trump administration is going to dig it all up. Because many people know where the bodies are buried, especially General Michael Flynn, who has taken no position with the Trump administration, and he sits on the outside, knowing everything about the Bush administration, Clinton administration, Obama administration, and the Biden administration. Because he's highly connected and he knows everything about USAID, the intelligence agencies, and the cutouts that they use to destabilize countries, engage in color revolutions, and just outright steal taxpayer funds under the military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical complex, the NGO complex, and of course, the humanitarian aid being a proxy for foreign interference in many countries. He knows all about it. So the Bidens made more money than they had in the original when they left office. Now we get to the Trump administration 1 and 2. Trump lost money in the first administration. The amount of lawfare that was thrown at Trump, he suffered greatly. Whether we want to believe it or not, as a human being, he had to suffer. Some people will say rightfully so, some others will disagree. All I know is he suffered, regardless of who is glad or who is not glad, or in the end, when he is vindicated now, who is celebrating it now and who is upset at it. That is not what this is for. It's about sacrifice. Love demands sacrifice. So Trump has lost money. Trump is the most hated man in some quarters, and yet he is the most revered, loved in some quarters. Yet somehow, miraculously, he has managed to rip the presidency away from the bureaucratic machine and the Democrat machine and become president again. And for that, he must be given credit for not only weathering the storm, but apparently he is the storm. Because with the Department of Government Efficiency, he is unloading on the bureaucratic state, the Democrat Party, the rhinos, the never-Trumpers, like no one else has ever done in the history of the United States. In fact, the Democratic Party is in shambles. The bureaucratic state is in heightened awareness of their destruction. And the people of the United States and the world is seeing in real time the level of corruption all governments, Republican and Democrat, have engaged in for decades. And for that, Trump and his team, his administration, who collectively have shown not only the ability to withstand any pressure, they seem to strive in it. They take questions from the media that the Biden administration didn't take, and they take it daily, and they give information daily, and they provide their own information directly to the public. You can't get no more transparent than that. Now, other people will say, but he's hiding up the things that is crooked to him. And to that I say, transparency of that too must be had. The checkers must check the checkers. So to the Democrats, hold Trump's foot to the fire. And if you know and you can prove he is doing anything corrupt, stealing government funds, shuttling government funds, expose it to the world. That is what you are there for, checks and balances. But for now, the biggest checker in the checks and balances seems to be Trump against the Democrat machine and against the bureaucratic machine, the war machine, the military-industrial complex, and all of these agencies that seemed aligned with and entrenched in stealing our taxpayer funds and giving it to the world while we suffer at home. So Trump has sacrificed a lot. All those indictments, all those impeachments, they decide he is a felon, and so he carries that title proudly. the first felon to be elected president and sitting as an elected felon president. You see, because words, even though they hurt, they really don't move the needle much because Trump is still president. And all who want to say felon president, feel free. He's still your president. And you could say he's not your president. Like many people said Biden was not their president. Biden served for 4 years. And now we're finding out that he didn't even sign anything. It was sign. Trump is still suffering. And he has 3 and 9 months of suffering yet to take. Because every day he sits in the White House, he could have been doing something much different with less stress, less scrutiny, and less hate. But he's sacrificing for the people of the United States, and by extension, he says, the world. He is seeking peace, while many in the rest of the world is seeking war. So how does that not be a great sacrifice on Trump's behalf? If he is the peacemaker, and those who say they believe in democracy and humanity are entertaining and promoting war. Trump says he wants fair trade. Even people in his own country are opposing that when he is saying that we, the Americans, have been ripped off by the world for decades and it's time to have fair trade. He's not saying he wants to have better trade for the US over anybody, not dominant trade. He says fair trade. When you look at the list of the tariffs that Canada has had on the United States, to hear the Canadian government talking about they're now looking to put reciprocal tariffs on Trump. They've been ripping off the United States for decades. Same with Mexico, same with China and all these countries. India, a prime example. So if Trump is sacrificing and saying, look, you can hate me all you want, you can oppose me, but it is in the benefit for the people of the United States because we have been ripped off. You mean to tell me Democrats and rhinos, the media, they are laying forces and are saying that they are opposing what is good for the country? Then Trump is sacrificing for the betterment of the United States and its citizens. And he must be commended. We continue. Trump is saying that any American who is being held hostage in any country, it is a focal point at the administration to get them back home. And he threatens any country that holds American citizens in his estimation unlawfully or illegally. America will not stand for that. And you have Republicans, you have Democrats, bureaucrats, the media opposing that. You have Trump seeking efficiency of government, not saying that he's going to cut off all the funding, but in the initial stages to find out where the waste is, the fraud is. He must stop the gravy train, and as he secures information, he puts the money that is geared towards things that are beneficial to America and the people of the American under the American flag. He will let that money flow. You have Americans, Democrats, rhinos, and the media opposing that. But this was the same thing that Clinton did. This was the same thing that Obama did. They wanted efficient government. Nobody in the media screamed about that. The Republicans weren't opposing the Democrats whole cloth just as a talking point and because they were in opposition. They understood that you had to make some changes. And invariably, any government that goes into power makes changes in leadership and in ideology policies. And Trump's policies and ideology, in fact, is working for the Americans, for us as citizens. And so when we hear of all the ways, the fraud, the theft, the shuttling into NGOs that just pop up billions of dollars, when we hear elected officials or people who ran for election getting billions to do nothing, you have the Democrats and the media opposing Trump from trying to save the taxpayers from waste, fraud, and abuse and theft. That's not a good position to be in. So when I say that love demands sacrifice, Trump is sacrificing happily in this new administration because love demands sacrifices, but his sacrifice isn't in fact a labor of love. No Supreme Court directive can overpower or undermine the power of the Constitution under Article 2. Trump don't even have to take them on, but yet he's letting the court run its course. That is respect for the three branches of government, even though he know in the end he will be vindicated because Article 2 is clear, very clear. You don't need much interpretation. He has the power vested in the presidency to do everything he's doing across the board. So let the Lafayette continue. The Democrats and the rhinos, they can put as much stumbling blocks in litigation they want. Trump will continue to follow the law, unlike what many of them did. He is going to follow the law. He won't circumvent it. The court says that you must not stop the funding, the USAID funding. You must let it go. All Trump did is put $1 on all of them credit cards because the court say you must let the credit cards continue. He has the power to put whatever he wants on them cards. He put $1 on all them credit cards across government. You know the surprising thing? Almost all the credit cards, them empty. They even take the $1. They even take the $1. So Trump's sacrifice right now is a sacrifice based in love. He loved the country. You vex with a man for being patriotic? You have people in the US who are US citizens who still carrying Mexican flags, Ecuadorian flags. They're carrying flags of Palestine, Israel. They're carrying flags of Rwanda, South Africa, Argentina, Nigeria. We can go on. And they do it in the United States under their freedom of speech that they acquire in the United States, and yet they refuse to carry a United States flag. So Trump is absolutely right. There is nothing in America first and raising the American flag, singing the American national anthem, and saying God first and America next. His sacrifice is not as difficult as some people want it to be. And yes, I said he has sacrificed the money. But Trump already let that go in 2016 because he refuses to take a salary. He donates his salary to whatever he wants to donate it to as a not-for-profit or to a different government agency. Doesn't take a dime. Obama received his pay. Clinton received his pay. Bush received his pay. And Biden took his pay even though they are billionaires. Trump refuses to take a pay. He doesn't want a salary. And yet he loses money from his own businesses. But as he says, this is a labor of love. He loves his country. And love demands sacrifice. I go on. Trump has given a template for much of the rest of the world. You cannot allow unelected bureaucrats, corrupt politicians, lawfare, or corrupted judges to stop your ascension and the policies that are common sense that benefit your country. No one. Bukalele of El Salvador said it plainly. The judges tried to stop my mandate from the people, and we had to impeach the judges and then set about fixing the country. And he's adamant that the Trump administration, the majority Republican Senate and the majority Republican House should move directly to impeach these corrupt judges who are using lawfare to try to derail the Trump administration, when at the same time, the audits of the Department of Government Efficiency are showing that those same judges have family members who are receiving funding through their NGOs from the same funding, the same slush fund, the USAID. He says impeach them. There is a call for that is going around now. Trump has not signaled that he wants to impeach them. I, in my analysis, see some of the wisdom of what Trump is doing. Trump is not even interfering with his opponents when they are damaging themselves. He is going to let them continue to do whatever they're doing, because every day that the Democrats and this bureaucracy, these rhinos, continue down the path they are going with their propaganda mouthpieces like CNN and MSNBC and all of those, they are shedding more and more Democrat voters. People are tired. People are sick and tired of the nonsense. It is common sense to stand up and applaud a child that had 13 surgeries of his brain who has cancer. It is common sense to stand up and applaud widows who have lost husbands on the border of fighting illegal immigrants who have come into the United States illegally and killed them. It is common sense to stand up and applaud the Lake and Riley Act that moves criminal, illegal immigrants to be held accountable for the brutal murder of this young lady in her 20s. You sit there as Democrats and as rhinos and the media. You double down and triple down on the nonsense of these people who have no heart. And so Trump is not going to interfere with them. He is not going to try to do a thing to them. He's going to let them continue to shoot themselves in the foot. And so said, so done. They continue today again. More and more corruption coming out. Now we're finding out that the EPA gave funding to a bunch of NGOs that just pop up in the last minute before Trump gets sworn in on Inauguration Day, trying to shuttle money so Trump can't stop it. Trump finding it. You think that Trump just woke up and decided to go after USAID? You think that Trump just put his eyes on top of the EPA, FEMA, HUD, the Department of Interior, the FBI, CIA, and all those programs? You think he just put his head and just automatically knew that USAID was the most corrupt of the funding sources that was being pillaged by the corrupt machine? No, people were telling him. You think that they just turned their eyes on ActBlue overnight? They've been watching ActBlue for months now. Why you think 7 of the leadership of ActBlue resigned? Why do you think the legal counsel resigned? The writing on the wall in the next week or so, ActBlue gonna get reamed out. And the Democrat dominant fundraising machine is gonna be under the scope for RICO. And I believe that ActBlue was funneling money into the USVI. I believe that USAID was funding a lot of the not-for-profits in the USVI. Somebody will have to prove me wrong. But the silence is deafening. What about the delegate to Congress? She quiet like a church mice. Did they receive any kickbacks? Shuttling through NGOs, through USAID, through the EPA. Remember, it was this government who said that they just got a windfall of billions that came into the US Virgin Islands for disaster recovery. It went from 16 or 17 or 8 million to 23 or 21 to 23 million. Where did all that money get suddenly obligated to? And so I'm not making waves. I'm just telling you, common sense analysis tells you, you got to look deep, you got to look far. USAID and all of these not-for-profits, NGOs, all of these people in their bureaucracy are aligned. Remember, the delegate to Congress was promoted onto the J6 committee. Well, all hell is going to break loose when Trump is done, because the J6 committee is going to be targeted, because now we know that they selectively picked evidence to show to the world. Now the evidence is coming out. Now we also finding out that they work behind the scenes to corrupt the impeachment process when it came to Trump. Now we know for a fact that elected officials in the United States were taking the information they get as government officials and using it in the stock market and making big gains. Now we also know that during COVID, the very same thing happened. The people who were telling you about COVID as the scientists were funding it, receiving monies from the pharmaceutical companies and from the people that do the vaccines on the opposite end. By time Trump is done and his administration is over, I wouldn't be surprised if 3/4 of Washington, D.C. ain't indicted and going to jail. It is that bad. And yet people who are sitting there operating like they are ostriches with their head in the sand, as if Trump doesn't have a Department of Justice, a FBI, CIA, DNI, and on in his administration, who has already signaled that they are aligned to Trump 100%, and they are going to deal with it. So that is the long and short of that. Love demands sacrifice. And so Trump will continue to sacrifice for the next 3 years and 9 months. Joyfully. Because the Democrats, in opposing him, are opposing common sense. They are opposing things that are beneficial to the people of the United States. And we cannot disagree on some of the nuances. But we cannot disagree that deregulation, drill baby drill, tariffs, getting to the bottom of the rat, the corruption, and clawing back the billions and trillions of the taxpayers' money that was being used corruptedly and giving it back to the people of the United States is not a good thing. And so, on that part, I will just say this. There are some who would say, let Trump take that. He needs to sacrifice. Hope he suffers. Bear in mind that Trump is now a happy camper. His sacrifice is a righteous one, whether you want to believe it or not. Trump is governing easy. This administration is not making the same mistakes his first administration did. In fact, Trump is demanding respect across the board, much like how the Biden administration bureaucrats put a heavy hand on the press when anybody wrote something they didn't like. Put a heavy hand on the Department of Justice when they wanted people attacked. A heavy hand and the intelligence agencies when they wanted a result that they wanted. The Biden administration gave Trump the template that he's following to the T. But unlike the Biden administration that was disrupted and plagued with scandal from within, the Trump administration is taking on no such scandal. They deal with it upfront and straight. Transparency is the best key. So now I'm going to look to see if Miss Ida Smith has sent me a request. Let me see. Hold on. Invite friends. No. Let's see. Ida Smith. Invite Ida Smith to watch. And she should be coming up shortly. Let's see if she gets the invite and she comes up. Like I was saying to you, love demands sacrifice. And tonight we're going to have some discussions about the sacrifice here in the Virgin Islands. Today I went and I did an interview with Mr. Bushalter, member of the board at his radio station 90.9. And for some reason, it was muted on the Facebook Live. I'm going to get that audio and upload it so that you could get to hear the conversation. And I'll tell people, I give big props to Mr. Bushalter. Sit there and have a conversation. Not in agreement in anything, but having the ability to speak to me respectfully, intelligently, across the board. We discussed all kind of things. He asked me my background. He gave me some of his. And to his co-host, Dr. Richardson, brilliant man. My takeaway from that today was two of your quotes. If you fail to make hard choices in life, life will invariably make hard choices for you. That was the one that I took away the most. And it's a perfect segue. Because these two gentlemen piqued my curiosity. And so I'm going to say it publicly. Mr. Bushalter, I'm coming back, I'm going to let you know when I come in. We're going to have a 2-hour conversation about various things. And maybe each one teach one. The community can see. People who agree on certain things, who disagree on certain things. And yet, when it's all said and done, it is for the betterment of the community. Respect due, Mr. Bushalter. Whether some people like it or not. I call it like I see it. And so it is an amazing thing. It really is an amazing thing. The sacrifices people have made in this community. This community of the U.S. Virgin Islands have done well by me. A few have done bad. But overall, the community itself is worth standing up for. It's worth saving in some ways. Love demands sacrifice. And many people hear me say that the people of the Virgin Islands need to awaken. They need to become fully active. And I am proud to say it is starting to resonate. Because I see, like I tell everyone, all of my listeners worldwide, when I look at the stories on social media of these, I call them propaganda mouthpieces, because they always give you some of the story, not all. They show no analysis, no investigative reporting. But in the comments, when you look into the comments of the stories and the VI Consortium, WTJX, The Source, and the Daily News, all of them, you see the community speaking truth. Then you see people speaking truth. Give me 1 second. Okay. Give me 1 second. Then I don't have it. Give me 1 second because I need to get Ida Smith in. So just give me I'll pause for a second. You will see me go off. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I just send a quick message. Like I was saying, and I forgive me for that. It happens. This is the 50th episode, and things like that happen. As I was saying, at the end of the day, you want the people to get engaged. And looking at those comments, people are well engaged. People are engaged more than you think. People are asking the questions that bode well for the future of the Virgin Islands. Nobody taking the narratives anymore. People see the governor go to the BVI and speak to the premier over there, knowing fully well they're aligned, knowing fully well that the threat of tariffs and fees is more optics than anything else. And so they're just watching them smile and come to the mic, wondering what is the end result of that? What all that for? You have people in the comments of those questions, those articles, like the article with the former executive director of the Taxi Cab Commission now suing for being terminated. Like I said, it would have to come to litigation. And the people in the comments, they're looking at it and they understand what a quorum is. They understand how the board should work. They understand that something seems a little bit off. Again, the governor seems to be involved because he appoints people to the board. It seems the Department of License and Consumer is involved. So the people in the comments see the whole dramatic round and round. And it bodes well for the future of the Virgin Islands because my listeners, my viewers, each one of us have to invite another person to be investigative in their thinking. Look at past, look at the history, look at the present, look at what the future might entail. Because it seems cyclical. It seems like where it started is where it's coming around. Again, Dr. Richardson today on the interview said the same. It's cyclical. It seems the same place that you started and you're moving from is where you're going to end up. So my take on it is, from looking at the comments, the people are engaged and they're getting more and more engaged. When people ask questions about what is going on in the Board of Elections in comments, they are aware that things are moving in the board and they want to know what is the next step. They're not taking narratives anymore. They are trying to get to the bottom of it. When you see people sacrifice for the Virgin Islands, you must understand where I'm going to go right now. Some people sacrifice to keep the Virgin Islands ensnared in the corruption that is really surrounding us. And there are some who are sacrificing to try to break the whole of that corruption. And so when I say love demands sacrifice, love of theft, love of corruption, love of unlawfulness, demands a great sacrifice. And some of that sacrifice, you're seeing it come to fore. Darren Richardson sacrificed a lot, and now he's facing consequences, and he got to sacrifice more. When you're on a righteous path, when you train to do good for your people, especially for the Virgin Islands, the only thing that you sacrifice comes from the narratives and the corrupt actions of those who oppose accountability. But if you love these Virgin Islands, it's a sacrifice that is easy to make. Easy to make. Yes, you have a lot of back and forth. You have people that not gonna like you. You have people who are gonna say all manner of evil against you falsely. But it's a sacrifice that you can take. I am here I'm trying to get Miss Ida Smith up online. Hold on. Let's try this one. Hold on 1 second. I'm not getting her to come up. Let me try this one. No, it's not going. We'll see her when she appears. I hope she gets on. She's having some difficulty coming in. Okay, let me see if I can. No, I'm not seeing her yet. Well, we're having some technical difficulties with Miss Ida Smith, but you know, if she isn't unable to come up, I'll just move forward and explain some of the things that she would have been saying and dealing with. But the show must go on, of course. And that is why I'm saying, as you have... Okay. No problem. So here we go. We're going to try to see if she comes up. These are people who are sacrificing a lot. During the campaign, I sat there and I saw many people have a lot to say about Miss Ida Smith. And I'm telling you, I didn't meet Ida Smith until during 2024, during the campaign. Ida Smith has a big heart. She loves these Virgin Islands. And I'll tell you this much. What she has taken on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands, many people see it in the news, but they do not understand that her sacrifice goes way farther, way deeper than what anybody thinks. To sit and have your name in the newspaper and in the media being mischaracterized, being slandered and defamed in many ways, and could still have the discipline. That is why I said last night in my podcast, discipline. To have the discipline to remain stoic, knowing that to blow a fuse and to just lash out would do nothing to help the people of the Virgin Islands is remarkable. Like I always say, I said Donald Trump is a bigger man than me in many ways. Ida Smith is a queen among us all in many ways. She has fought the fight for the property, the lands of these Virgin Islands that many people do not even understand. She has fought and continued to fight to represent these Virgin Islands as a delegate, a representative, because we don't have no representation We have recycling of ideas, recycling of proposals, and silence from the people who say that they were going to represent us for 2 years. We almost to 3 months, ain't nothing doing. And within that 3 months, Miss Ida Smith continues the fight for the people of the Virgin Islands. And so Ida Smith et al. Moved to litigation against the supervisor of elections in the district court on behalf of not only ourselves, but the people of the Virgin Islands. Because the people of the Virgin Islands is what matters. Our sacrifice, and I'll put myself in now, our sacrifice, every single one of us, because people like to call Ida Smith name. It is Ida Smith, Collister Fahie, Cleopatra Peter, Barbara Lauren, Ann Williams, and on and on. Melissa Sylvester. We have Cheryl Charles. On and on. People who have had enough, who are willing to sacrifice so that this nonsense that happened in 2024 do not continue. Whole cloth, it cannot continue. And this is part of the conversation I had today with Mr. Bushelter, a member now, back on the board of elections, to explain this cannot continue. Some of which he agreed with and educated me about some more of the things. And so now I have a broader view. And so to the members, look inside yourselves. You got 14 of you on the board. 8 it needs to move the board of elections into what the people of the Virgin Islands is asking you for. Sacrifice, man. Love the man sacrifice. Every day you say you love these Virgin Islands. Love the man sacrifice that you tell any corrupted persons, be gone. We represent the people of the Virgin Islands now. Sacrifice. Love the man sacrifice. And that is what we do. And Ida Smith has sacrificed greatly. And she will continue to sacrifice. Because just like Stacey Plaskett, who was born and raised in New York and have come back to the Virgin Islands to quote unquote give back, Ida Smith is back and still giving of herself on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands. Let's see. And that is the long and short of it. I will give you just an agenda in case she comes in. I'll give her some more time. But I'll give you an agenda. From the Whistling Key debacle, Ida Smith been on the job, defending the people of the United States Virgin Islands. What did our elected officials in the Senate do? Sat with their mouths open as they were given the law, given the history, and given what their roles are. Go back some more. Ida Smith stood up for the property of people on St. John when others would seek to try to take their lands. And ethically, in my view, unlawfully, in my view, she stood up with the families on behalf of herself, her descendants, and their families. Still fighting the fight today for the people of the Virgin Islands. The lawsuit that was brought by Ida Smith et al. It revolves around Ida Smith in many ways, but it incorporates every single one of us who made complaints to the Board of Elections, to the Supervisor of Elections, about breaking the laws of the Virgin Islands, Title 18, as it pertains to our election laws. Notice The Board of Elections have still not addressed those complaints. The Supervisor of Elections still remains a Supervisor of Elections after taking the board to court. So what would the people of the Virgin Islands do if Ida Smith et al. Didn't move to file a lawsuit to force the Board of Elections and the Supervisor of Elections to uphold the laws of the land in the district court in Colombia? You think it's easy? It takes sacrifice. It takes money, time, effort, research. But most of all, it takes discipline, focused discipline, to ensure that we not only represent ourselves, but the people who can represent themselves, the people who are asking for the same that we ask, but are so overwhelmed with so many other things in the community. But like we say, the Board of Elections is the gateway to much of the corruption that is in the Virgin Islands, and so we take a stand. And it is that sacrifice that cannot be overlooked. And I ask all my listeners, all my viewers, each one of you, tell one more person, explain to them that we don't represent ourselves only. We represent the collective of the people of the Virgin Islands. Give me 1 second. Barbara. Yes. You're gonna have to come on. You're gonna have to come on the live. You gotta come onto my page and just look as a viewer and then request to come on. I'm sending you those requests, sir. And are you not getting them? No, it seems not. That's why I keep putting in the comments. If you read the comments, you'll see. I'll tell you I've been sending them. Okay, hold on. Let me go back over. Give me a quick second. Okay. Again, my apologies. Let me go to the comments. Trying to get. Okay. And then one more. Okay. Trying to get Miss Ida Smith in and Miss Barbara Lauren. Says add-in. But I think you have to click on it to come in now. I don't think you have to click on it. Just keep saying add-in. So try coming in and you will appear on my screen. Okay, let me go one more time. Let's go one more time and try this. Not getting you, Barbara. Seeing it. Just bear with me 1 second, my viewers, my listeners. Barbara, add again, send invite. It says add in again. Let's see if you come in now. Okay, there you are. You can hear me? Okay, good. I'm having some issues with Ida. Is it possible she can call you when we try to do it that way? A quick second. We're gonna get it done. Believe me, this is the 50th. This is the 50th, so we're gonna get. Okay, I am back.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? No, I'm muted. You can hear me now.
I can hear you now.
Absolutely fine. So to my viewers and my listeners, you got a dream team. I really didn't think today I should have think of it, but I wasn't sure if you were available, and I just wanted Ida to come in and give us an update. But guess what? 2 for the bang of 1. And it is just appropriate, Barbara. I was talking about when I met Ida. And life is so funny. See, everything comes full circle. Barbara was the one who invited me when I met Ida. And from that day, I think we joined by the hip. You know? Lord, I've been giving you some licks on the board, Barbara. And rightfully so, because we're doing it for the likes. We're not doing it for the likes, we're doing it for the love. And you seem to be one of the few who got any kind of integrity, but I can digress. We're going to leave it that way, because I was speaking to Mr. Bushelter today, and I was telling him, they all got to go and the new got to think for themselves. And so it was a good conversation. The audio, for some reason, I think I was muted, but I'm going to get the audio and upload it to the video so that everybody could hear. Myself and Anne was there, but the discourse was high. So I learned a lot about not really the way the board runs, but the ideology that moves things. And the fact that he told me you need 8, which I knew, but it was the fact that 8 people could move the thing. So I need to talk. I need to talk to 8. I need to talk to 8. I'm talking to 8 people every night from now when he come to the board. I don't know which 8, but I'm gonna talk, and hopefully 8 gonna listen. Because I lost it. I lost it a little bit the other night. I was upset because it's like twiddling your thumbs. They're going over and over, round and round, setting meeting date, and everybody were right there. They could have deal with it. And so I said, come off the board. I said, man, I got to tell Barbara, just leave the board, turn over table, root up the place. But that's not your style, and it ain't really my style, but it gets really aggravating when you see people trying to do right, and then you see some people speaking to them as if you yourselves don't really know.
The truth is, the picture that has been painted of the efforts made by not just myself, but the other culture bearers and freedom fighters in our community has never been a true picture. Even look at the newspaper article that came out after that first meeting. Or it did not reflect the truth at all. Yep. I read it over again today, and I saw where the comment was made that Barbara LaRon, Harriet Mercer, not necessarily in this order, Harriet Mercer, Barbara LaRon, and Dr. Cleopatra Peter resisted the closing of the board meeting. That was unfair. The 3, just like you saying, it takes 8 to take a majority. Yep. 3 people couldn't resist that. It was a vote. We wanted to ensure that those in the audience was heard. I said this before, and I know many will recall. When I sat in their seat, I wanted to be heard.
Right.
So much so that I was given the name the Peanut Gallery.
Yes, you was.
And I wore it proudly. So I love and respect the input and the position that the Peanut Gallery comes from.
Right.
And I will always make way for their voices to be heard. Simple.
Yeah. It's unfair. It's unfair to it's unfair to task you as the resistance or resisting anything, because at the end of the day, they must realize that it's just common sense how you apply it,
But what I'm trying to say to you is they've never told the true story.
Right.
And that also goes for many of the board members that are sitting in that room. They themselves haven't been told the true story. So a lot of them are operating just as they have been programmed to operate without even realizing it. The deceptions and the mistrust that has been put in their way.
Well, they're gonna need to get themselves ready because we don't talk off the cuff about things. So they better prepare themselves because come and we're gonna talk, but after carnival, it's full speed ahead. Because what I realized, Barbara, and it's a plug for your, how must I put it? It's a plug for your influence in the community. What I realize, people take different things from different people. And when you on the radio and you give your perspective, there's a wide group of people who understands. And it's a sad thing that they have the bully pulpit, the daily news and the consortium spreading all the propaganda. That is why I was upset. Because for them to put that story out, I didn't go to the meeting. I had other meeting. And I was, it's life. Life happens. And it was work. But I wanted to be at the meeting so I could speak from my own observation. When you can't speak from your observation, you got to go with what people say. I intentionally didn't call you. I didn't call Cleo. I didn't call Harriet. Didn't call anybody. And I went to the newspapers first. And my first takeaway was the St. Thomas source. That one, as soon as I see it and it said, basically the meeting went good, I know something wrong. It was like the meeting was just done nice and it was bugger. Then I looked at the other ones and they had different things. And I said to myself, well, that meeting must have been really one of them good meetings. Meaning, he had to have back and forth. Just by the narrative they were trying to paint.
Yeah. There were people who sat in that room that didn't even understand the importance of what the back and forth was about, or the insisting that we are not dictated on, but actually given a fair voice. Every 14 members on the board, and there are 14 equal votes.
Right.
Nobody voting bigger than the next.
Yeah,
everybody. I don't care what seat you're sitting in. I don't care what role you're playing. Your vote is one.
When Mr. Bushel done with me today, I understand why the board ended up how it was in that meeting, because what he explained wasn't so much about what went on. It's just that things seem to be, they're trying to keep a 2024 board in a 2025 board. So I tell you, let me tell you something. You can't allow that, I don't know who. Yeah, but I said, but that can't be allowed. And he was mindful. He tell me he takes 8. So I tell him, well, guess what? Then the 8 gonna got to be found. Meaning, you can't have people who don't understand the role and they take. We got to do a better job at educating them or removing them. It's simple. I mean, I being straight. They either got to be up to par, willing to learn, and if they ain't willing to learn, they're gonna stay corrupted. Not won't say corrupted, not knowing the full scope of it, and they don't want to listen to you. Listen to anybody who understands what is going on in the board. Then, Barbara, something has to be done. Something has to be done. Let's see if she come back in. You're glitching, Barbara. Yeah, she's gonna come back in. But as I continue, let me see if I could send it again. Let's see if that is the issue. No, that's not the issue. So we will see. She'll probably come back up. Let me see again. We're having some technical difficulties, Lord. St. Thomas when it gets really good, but bear with us tonight. Hey, it's the 50th, and it is what it is. Let me hit on this. Yeah, we having some issues, but it is all good. I'll see her when she pops back up. Let's see. No, she hasn't popped back up yet. But as I continue, you see, as we're talking, we realize that sacrifices are being made. And, to all the board members, it takes 8. And I said, look within yourselves. What the people of the Virgin Islands are asking for is not a lot. They're asking for Title 18 to be followed. They're asking for the election laws to be followed. They're asking for the people of the Virgin Islands, when they put in complaints, to be heard based on the law, within the time frame that the law directs. We're asking that any member of the board or the ESVI be held to account based on their actions. The supervisor is not above the law. No board member is above the law. And so for the board, I implore you, read Title 18, read your bylaws, coalesce with your board members, vote up and down, but do it based on what the mandate of the people ask for specific things before the election of 2024. Nobody listened to them. So I'm imploring you, you cannot continue in 2025 in a new board with some old members, some new members, but you cannot continue in the board operating as if you have your head stuck in the sun. The people of the Virgin Islands have major issues. One of our elders was arrested in St. Croix. One of our elders was accosted here in St. Thomas. From a human point of view, they need to be dealt with. Then the other complaints, some from very board members, need to be addressed. You cannot just operate as if it doesn't exist. Turn your back on it as if it's going to disappear. It won't. Those days are done. The people of the Virgin Islands demand better. And so we're going to revisit this. Like I said, we're having a lot of technical difficulties. For whatever reason, I can't seem to get... Okay, here we go. Add her one more time and let's see if she comes back up. And I hope she does. Okay, here she is. Yeah, thank you, Barbara. You're having difficulties, but it was before you.
Yes, it was... Okay, listen. Look at messages. You're going to see I send you a join request from someone else.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
It's coming from Alexandria Bacelli.
In the comments?
Yes, look in the comments. You see that?
No, I don't. Hold on.
She said, "This is Ida."
No, hold on. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up the comments. I'm not seeing them. Not seeing it.
Okay, she can send the request again, or I'm telling her to send the request again. Do you see where her comments are?
No, I ain't even seen it. Hold on.
She's not under Ida Smith.
I know.
Okay.
I know, but I'm trying to find them on Facebook so I could give them a friend request because I give him a problem from here. That is what I know. Okay, let me do it this way. From friends.
I did connect to the WhatsApp on your phone. I'm gonna call you on WhatsApp. Answer there. In the meantime, well, he works that out.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to. Not sure, but no. I'm trying to get the comments to come up.
So if she's listening, if she can hear us, I'm asking her to answer her line on WhatsApp so you can at least hear her if you can't even see her while that's worked on.
I ain't even seen the comments tonight, which is weird. I tell you, I've been having
slide. That's what's going on. Slide to your right, I think it is, or touch the screen. Something.
That's right.
Don't turn it off, because sometimes it goes off.
I know. It does.
Anyway.
Yeah. I am trying to get it here now. No, those are my viewers. Comment. I could write a comment, but I'm not seeing them coming up, which is weird. I told you. This has never happened before, but I've been having some issues since today. And she sent me. No, it won't work that way. Can she send me a friend request on Facebook? I ain't hearing you, Barbara. You're muted. She's talking. Let me see. Bear with us tonight. Let me see. Can you see my comment? No, I see my own comment, but I ain't seeing nobody else's comment. Tell her go ahead now. Let me see. Can any one of my listeners write a comment? Say good night, or just let me see if he's coming up, because I see my own comment, which is weird. It happens. But anyhow, as we're waiting for Barbara to come back in, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pop out and pop back in and see if that is the issue. Okay? So I will come back in again right after this. Yeah, just tell them send me a friend request. It seemed like for whatever reason it glitched, and so it wasn't allowing the comments to come up.
So you're gonna start again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you couldn't see me commenting to you.
Yeah.
Start again.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'll see. I think it glitched because you know how these things work. When you lose signal, it comes up. I've never had this problem before. So all I see is it says comments will appear here. Let me see. Let me invite. And it doesn't say, I don't see any comments, which is weird. It's weird. This is really strange, but you always take the bad and turn it into good. Let me see. It doesn't say anybody. But as we continue, as I said, the topic is love demands sacrifice. And so I go back to that. You have too many people in the community sacrificing a great deal on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands. What we want is even more people to make that righteous sacrifice. While we speak, we also act. And as I listen to people's stories and as I listen to people talk about what drives them to the greater good, to stand up on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands, their stories are diverse. I heard a story today that touched me. And so past becomes present. And when you see people react and take a stand, it is because they realize if they don't take a stand, it will continue to happen. Maybe not to them, but it will continue to happen to people in the Virgin Islands. And they can't take that. They cannot take that. I'm sending it out to you again, Barbara. People are a product of what has happened to them in the past. People are a product. All right, I think I could see you coming in, Barbara. I was just saying that people are a product of the things that happened in the past. I can't seem to even see comments, Barbara. So it may be my signal. There may be a jammer up here. I've never had this problem. But I realized from last night, my signal would glitch. It would take me off the screen, like somebody pointing something at my house. So I gonna come. I think I gonna get a studio someplace and circle up because it been happening on and off. And I remember Harriet told me one time she couldn't even hear me certain times. And when I look at it here, my lights would go down, come up, like all kind of crazy stuff. But we're gonna keep the fire burning. And so I was just saying, if I don't get either on tonight, believe me, they don't know me. I will tape it and put it on as a show that ain't live on Facebook. They have no idea the lengths that we will go to make sure that the information go out. And you know, that's a very good idea. I think I gonna come look for you too, Barbara, because sometimes you don't have to go live. Sometimes you don't have to go live. Sometimes you don't have to go live. Sometimes you could put the information out as a taped thing. Because I think that, again, too comfortable live and they're starting to realize that they could do those things. Because when you record, all you got to do is pop it in and hit send. And it up and everybody could look at it right away. But as just as an aside, I was saying that people making sacrifices, and we want more people make sacrifice. The more the merrier, because talk is one thing, but action is the next. And to see you guys take your time out. You know, Mr. Bushelter, he stayed there and he tell me, well, listen, I ain't a government employee and so I lose money. Everybody lose money. When I look at it, everybody sacrificing something. And for you guys to go on the board meeting, it's a disservice to you to have nothing done. Make you guys look like you're wasting time. You know, maybe that is part of the plan.
we were invited to prepare for a retreat for the board to go on a retreat, the board members to go on a retreat. For what?
Turn up your volume a little bit. Turn up your volume a little bit, Barbara. Yeah. Yeah. Put up your volume a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit. Okay.
I said, if you want to get to know me, listen to my books. See where I come from on this board. I don't need to go on a retreat to get to know anybody. I thank you very much, but that is not what I came in. I will take the classes and be the best whatever I can be. To be at any retreat with anyone when there's work to be done. That's how we spend the government money to hear some responses on issues that have been to the territories that we are elected. We got work to do. Be prepared for the issues.
Yeah, but what I realize is some of it is by design. Some of it is by design. But what go wrong come wrong. What go wrong come wrong. And I hope that they realize that you guys doing this not because you don't have thing to do, You know? I listen to some of the radio nonsense when people talking about the board, and I keep saying, unless the board fixes the problems that we know in front of it can't go away now. It's stuck. And that is the consensus. So then what are they willing to do? If you're gonna sacrifice your time and your effort, you're gonna speak up about the Title 18. We all know what the ills are. And then the supervisor of elections sit there like, so what? And then the board chairman sit down there like, well, we ain't touch it. It's a moment in time that the people of the Virgin Islands must realize that you are proven right by the non-action. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Say that again? Okay, hold on. Oh, Anne? Say, say, I'm looking to see if she's there. I ain't seen her come up. She not coming up. She not even coming up as a viewer much in the comments as when I put it in. And I ain't seen it. I tell you something weird is going on. Not even seeing the comments. That's what I was telling you, which is strange. And they're saying they can't hear it. Hold on. Let me. Mm-hmm. And
I have to add her as a friend, boy.
I have to add
You're
as a
muted.
friend. Huh?
You're muted.
Hold on. I have to add her as a friend, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's interesting.
I'm looking in here and I see everybody else except her. I thought I could have pulled it up from in before, but it's not coming up. Not even in the I can't see the comments for whatever reason tonight. First time ever. I ain't seen one comment. Not even one comment. I'm telling you.
Well, there are several people online. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you'll see this after you close out later. But so we could continue, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to get Ida to be a part of this conversation. Maybe Ida, send me a text with that person's WhatsApp number so I can add them as my friend and bring you on verbally or audioly if nothing else. Okay. So send me a text with that phone number so I can add it to my WhatsApp.